The Cheras were an ancient royal dynasty who ruled parts of the present-day states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala in India. Together with the Chola and the Pandyas, they formed the three principal warring Iron Age kingdoms of South India, known as Three Crowned Kings of Tamilakam. By the early centuries of the Common Era, civil society and statehood under the Cheras were developed in present-day western Tamil Nadu. The location of the Chera capital is generally assumed to be at modern Karur. The Chera kingdom later extended to the plains of Kerala, the Palgad, along the river Bharathapuzha, and occupied land between the river Bharathapuzha and river Periyar, creating two harbour towns, Tondi and Muchiri, where the Roman trade settlements flourished. The Cheras were in continuous conflict with the neighbouring Cholas and Pandyas. The Cheras are said to have defeated the combined armies of the Pandyas and the Cholas and their ally states. They also made battles with the Kadambas of Banavasi and the Yavanas on the Indian coast. After the 2nd century CE, the Cheras' power decayed rapidly with the decline of the lucrative trade with the Romans. Sangam literature describes a long line of Chera rulers dated to the first few centuries CE. It records the names of the kings, the princes, and the court poets who extolled them. The internal chronology of this literature is still far from settled, and at present a connected account of the history of the period cannot be derived. Uthian Cheralathan, Nadum Cheralathan and Senguttuvan Chera are some of the rulers referred to in the Sangam poems. Senguttuvan Chera, the most celebrated Chera king, is famous for the legends surrounding Kannagi, the heroine of the Tamil epic Silappatikaram. The Chera kingdom owed its importance to trade with West Asia, Greece and Rome. Its geographical advantages, like the abundance of exotic spices, the navigability of the rivers connecting the Ghatin mountains with the Arabian Sea, and the discovery of favorable monsoon winds which carried sailing ships directly from the Arabian coast to Chera kingdom, combined to produce a veritable boom in the Chera foreign trade. The later Cheras ruled from the 9th century. Little is known about the Cheras between the two dynasties. The second dynasty, Kulasekaras, ruled from a city on the banks of river Periyar called Mahodalapuram, though never regained the old status in the peninsula. Kulasekaras fought numerous wars with the powerful neighbors and diminished to history in the 12th century as a result of continuous Chola and Rashtrakuta invasions. The Chera rulers of Venad, based at the Port Quillan in southern Kerala, trace the relations back to the later second Cheras. Ravivarma Kulasekara, ruler of Venad from 1299 to 1314, is known for his ambitious military campaigns to former Pandya and Chola territories. Etymology of the word Chera. The word Chera probably derived from Cheral, meaning declivity of a mountain. In ancient Tamil, the Cheras are referred as Kavalapa, though in the Ashoka's edicts. The Greco-Roman trade map Periplus Maris Erythraeae refers to Cheras as Celebotra. The term Seralamdivu is Serantivu, and its cognates, meaning the island of the Seran kings, is a classical Tamil name of Sri Lanka that takes root from the term Chera, from which the dynasty name is derived. Early Cheras. Indian literary sources. The primary literary sources available regarding the early Chera kings are the anthologies of Sangam literature, created between c. 1st and the 4th centuries CE. Padhirapadhu, the 4th book in the Etymology anthology of Sangam poems, mentions a number of rulers of the Chera dynasty. Each ruler is praised in 10 songs sung by the court poet. The rulers are mentioned in the following order: Nadum Cheralathan, Kumatua Kanana, Palyanchel Kezukuttavan Pali Kantamana, Namudi Cheral, Kapi Yaruk Kapiyana, Senguttuvan Chera, Parana, Aduk Otu Patu Cheralathan, Kakai Patanaya Nachalaya, Selva Karam Kovalayathan, Kapila, Param Cheral Irumpuri Arasul Killa, Ilam Cheral Irumpuri Perunkan Raw Killa. Sangam literature is rich in descriptions about a number of Chera kings and princes, along with the poets who extolled them. However, these are not worked into connected history and settled chronology so far. A chronological device, known as Gajabahu synchronism, is used by historians to help date early Tamil history. Despite its dependency on numerous conjectures, Gajabahu synchronism has wide acceptance among modern scholars and is considered as the sheet anchor for the purpose of dating ancient Tamil literature. The method depends on an event depicted in Silapatikaram, which describes the visit of Kaivakus, the king of Elankai, in the Chera kingdom during the reign of the Chera king, Senguttuvan. The Gajabahu method considers this Kaivaku as Gajabahu, who according Mahavamsa, a historical poem written in Pali language on the kings of Sri Lanka, lived in the latter half of the 2nd century CE. This, in turn, has been used to fix the period Senguttuvan, who ruled his kingdom for 55 years, in the 2nd century CE. The Cheras, the Pandyas, and the Cholas are also mentioned as the three ruling dynasties of southern India in the Hindu epic Ramayana. Cheras are also mentioned in Aitararanyaka and Mahabharata, where they take the sides with the Pandavas in the famous war at Kurukshetra. Archaeological sources. Archaeology has found epigraphic evidence of the early Cheras. Two identical inscriptions near Tiruchirappalli, dated to the 2nd century CE, describe 3 generations of Chera rulers of the Arampari clan. They record the construction of a rock shelter for Jains on the occasion of the investiture of the Crown Prince Ilam Kadungad, son of Param Kadungo, and the grandson of Athan Cheral Irumpuri. Rulers. According to the Sangam poems, Uthian Cheralathan, the first of the known rulers of the Chera entity, was Vanavaramban Param Chotu Uthian Cheralathan. His capital was at Kushumur. Uthian Cheralathan was a contemporary of the Chola ruler Karikala Chola. Mamulena credits him with having conducted a feast in honor of his ancestors. In a battle at Veni, Uthian Cheralathan was wounded on the back by Karikala Chola. Unable to bear the disgrace, the Chera committed suicide by starvation. Nadum Cheralathan probably consolidated the Chera kingdom, and literature and art developed highly during his period. Nadum Cheralathan is praised in the 2nd ten of Pathirapathu, composed by his court poet Kanana. Nadum Cheralathan, famous for his hospitality, even gave a part of Umbakatu to Kanana. The greatest enemies of Nadum Cheralathan were Kidnappers of Banavasi. He also won another victory over the Yavanas on the coast. The chief of the Yavanas was captured and paraded in public with hands pinioned to his back and head poured over with ghee. Mamulena refers to a seacoast township called Mantai and the exhibition ornaments and diamonds captured by Nadum Cheralathan there. Nadum Cheralathan was killed in a battle with a Chola ruler. The Chola ruler was also killed in the battle by a spear thrown at him by Nadum Cheralathan. Nadum Cheralathan is claimed to have conquered Bharatavarsha up to the Himalayas and to have inscribed his royal emblem on the face of the mountains. Palyani Selkelukutavan Purayakon. Palyani Selkelukutavan was the brother of Nadum Cheralathan. He helped his brother in the conquests of northern Malabar. At least a part of northern Malabar came under the Chera rule in this period, as is proven by the title Purayakon. In the later years of his life, Palyani retired from military life and spent time in arts, letters, gifts and helping Brahmins. Namudi Cheral, Kalangikani. Namudi Cheral is praised in the 4th set, written by Kapiyana. He, famous for his generosity over the defeated, won a series of victories of the enemies. In the Battle of Vakai Peram Tarain, Namudi Cheral defeated and killed Nananuves Himalai, annexing Puri Nadu. Selva-Kadam-Kovalaithan. Selva-Kadam-Kovalaithan was the son of Anthavan Cheral and the hero of the seventh set of poems composed by Kapila. His residence was at the city of Tondi. He married the sister of the wife of Nadum Cheralathan. Selva-Kadamko defeated the combined armies of the Pandyas and the Cholas. He is sometimes identified as the Athan Cheral Iramporai mentioned in the Aranatamilai inscription of Pugalur. Velkelukutavan, son of Nadum Cheralathan, ascended to the Chera throne after the death of his father. Velkelukutavan is often identified with the legendary Kadal Bharakatiya Senguttuvan Chera, the most illustrious ruler of the early Cheras of the Sangam age. Under his reign, the Chera kingdom extended from Kolamalai in the east to Tondian Mantai on the western coast. The queen of Senguttuvan was Ilangovenmal. In the early years of his rule, Senguttuvan successfully intervened in a civil war in the Chola kingdom. The war was among the Chola princes and the Cheras stood on the side of the relative Kili. The rivals of Prince Kili were defeated in a battle at Neriyaval, Uriur, and he firmly established the Chola throne. The land and naval expedition against the Kadambas was also successful. The Kadambas had the support of the Yavanas, who were routed in the Battle of Itumbal and Valiur. The fort Kodukua in which the Kadamba army took shelter was stormed and the Kadambas was beaten. In the following naval expedition the Yavana-supported Kadamba army was crushed. He is said to have defeated the Kongu people and a warrior called Mogaman. Elango Adigal wrote the legendary Tamil epic Silapatikaram, which describes his brother Senguttuvan Chera's decision to propitiate a temple for the goddess Patini at Vankai. Senguttuvan Chera was perhaps a contemporary King Gajabahu of Sri Lanka. King Gajabahu, according to the Sangam poems, visited the Chera country during the Patini festival at Vankai. He is mentioned in the context of King Gajabahu's rule in Sri Lanka, which can be dated to either the first or last quarter of the 2nd century CE, depending on whether he was the earlier of the later Gajabahu. Aduk Ottupatu Cheralathan. Aduk Ottupatu Cheralathan was a crown prince for a long 38 years. Trade and commerce flourished in the Chera kingdom during his rule. He is said to have given some villages to Brahmins in Nadu. Paramcheral Irumpuri Tagarda Erantha. Paramcheral Irumpuri defeated the combined armies of the Pandyas, Cholas and that of the chief of Tagarda. He destroyed the famous city of Tagarda, which was ruled by the powerful ruler Adagamandi Zhni. He is also called the Lord of Purinad and Kolamala, and the Lord of Puhar. Puhar was the Chola capital. Paramcheral Irumpuri also annexed the territories of a minor chief called Kaluval. Ilimcheral Irumpuri. Ilimcheral Irumpuri defeated the Pandyas and the Cholas and brought immense wealth to his capital at a city called Vankai. He is said to have distributed these treasures among the Panna poets. Janikachai Mantaran Cheral Irumpuri. King Yanikachai Mantaran Cheral Irumpuri preserved the territorial integrity of the Chera kingdom under his rule. However, by the time of Mantaran Cheral the decline of the kingdom had begun. The Chera ruled from Kolamalai in the east to Tondian Mantai on the western coast. He defeated his enemies in a battle at Vilimkal. The famous Pandya ruler Nadum Chejian captured Mantaran Cheral as a prisoner. However, he managed to escape and regain the lost kingdom. Kanaikal Irumpuri. Kanaikal Irumpuri is said to have defeated a local chief called Muvan. The Chera then brutally pulled out the teeth of his prisoner and planted them on the gates of the city of Tondi. The later Kanaikal Irumpuri was captured by the Chola ruler Senganan and he later committed suicide by starvation. Government and society during the Sangam era. era. Administration monarchy was the most important political institution of the Chera kingdom. There was a high degree of pomp and pageantry associated with the person of the king. The king wore a gold crown studded with precious stones. The king was an autocrat, but his powers were limited by a council of ministers and scholars. The king held daily durbar to hear the problems of the common men and to address them on the spot. The royal queen had a very important and privileged status, and she took her seat by the side of the king in all religious ceremonies. Another important institution was the manor which functioned in each village of the Chera kingdom. Its meetings were usually held by the village elders under a banyan tree, and helped in the local settlement disputes. The manrams were the venues for the village festivals as well. In the course of the imperial expansion of the Cheras, the members of the royal family set up residence at several places of the kingdom. They followed the collateral system of succession, according to which the eldest member of the family, wherever he lived, ascended the throne. Junior princes and heir apparents helped the ruling king in the administration. The Cheras had a well-equipped army which consisted of infantry, cavalry, elephants and chariots. There was also an efficient navy. The Chera soldiers made offering to the war goddess Kotive before any military operation. It was traditional when the Chera rulers were victorious in a battle to wear anklets made out of the crowns of the defeated rulers. Foreign trade. Chera trade with foreign countries around the Mediterranean Sea can be traced back to before the Common Era. In the 1st century of the Common Era, the Romans conquered Egypt, which helped them to establish dominance in the Arabian Sea trade. The Periplus of the Erythraean Sea portrays the trade in the kingdom of Sarabothras in detail. Muziris was the most important port in the Malabar coast, which according to the Periplus, abounded with large ships of Romans, Arabs and Greeks. Bulk spices, ivory, timber, pearls and gems were exported from the Chera ports to Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Rome, Phoenicia and Arabia. The Romans brought vast amounts of gold in exchange for pepper. Society and religion. Most of the Chera population followed native Dravidian practices. The worship of departed heroes was a common practice in the Chera kingdom, along with tree worship and other kinds of ancestor worships. The war goddess Kotive was propitiated with complex sacrifices. The Cheras probably worshipped this mother goddess. Kotive was later assimilated into the present-day form of the goddess Devi. There is no evidence of snake worship in the Chera realms during the Sangam age. Perhaps the Brahmins came to the Chera kingdom in the 3rd century BCE following the Jains and Buddhists. It was only in the 8th century CE that the Aryanization of the Chera country reached its climax. A small percentage of the population followed Jainism, Buddhism and Brahmanism. These three philosophies came from northern India to the Chera kingdom. A small Jewish and Christian population also lived in the Chera territories. Decline of early Cheras. The 4th and 5th centuries witnessed the decline and fall of the Western Roman Empire. Also, in the post-Sangam era, the Chera kingdom was invaded by a number of northern powers. A Kadamba record of the 5th century at the Edakal cave in Wayanad bears testimony to the Kadamba presence in the deep south. Chera kingdom seems to have been affected by the Kalabra upheaval in the 5th and 6th centuries CE. According to Buddhist works, Kalabra ruler Ashutavikantha kept the Chera, Chola and Pandya rulers in his confinement and established control over a large portion of southern India. The Kalabras were defeated around the 6th century with the revival of Pallava and Pandya power. The Chalukyas of Badami must have conducted temporary conquests of Malabar. An inscription of Pulakshani claims that he conquered the Chera ruler. A number of other inscriptions mentions the victories over the kings of Chera kingdom and Ashilmalai rulers. Pulakshan too is also said to have conquered Chera, Pandya and Chola kingdoms. Soon the three rulers made an alliance and marched against the Chalukyas. But the Chalukyas defeated the confederation. Venad also subjugated the Chera king and made him pay tribute to the Chalukyas. King Vikramaditya is also said to have defeated the Cheras. King Simhavishnu and Mahendravarman of the first Pallava rulers to claim sovereignty over the Chera kingdom. Narasimhavarman and the Pandya ruler Sendan also won victories over the Cheras. King Nandivarman II of the Pallavas allied with the Cheras in a fight against the Pandyas under Viragun of the first. Rashtrakutas also claimed control over Cheras. Antidurga and Govinda III is said to have defeated the Cheras. The I kingdom, south of the Chera kingdom, long functioned as an effective buffer state between a declining Chera kingdom and an emerging Pandya kingdom. Later the Pandyas conquered the Ays and made it a tributary state. As late as 788 CE, the Pandyas under Maranjadayana Jatilavarman Parantaka invaded the I kingdom and took the port city of Vijayanagar. However, the Ays did not seem to have submitted to the Pandyas, as they fought against them for almost a century. Later Cheras, formerly known as Kulasekaras, were the nominal rulers of the Chera kingdom, a loose federation of regional chiefs, which existed between the 9th and 12th centuries CE. The rule of later Cheras was based at the city of Mahodalipuram near the present-day Kodungalur, Kerala. The Perumal government was described by historian M.G.S. Narayanan as a Brahmin oligarchy with ritual sovereignty. The Chera kingdom of the Perumals was the only large state that existed in pre-modern Kerala. It was a loose federation of Aryan Brahmin settlers nominally acknowledging the sovereignty of the Cheraman Perumal and supporting him in defensive wars against the other Tamil powers. There was a Brahmin oligarchy which supported the Perumal. Most of the Perumals were saintly scholars who remained influenced by the power of Brahmin councillors. State formation was weak and state military enterprise in the imperial Chola style was out of the question. In the Chera period, the quasi-autonomous Brahmin settlements were administered by the Sabha under the supervision of the Naduvajis. Naduvajis were mostly the sons of Brahmins because of the Maramakarthalyam system, which promoted Sambandham, a form of Brahmin-Sudra matrimonial alliance. The Chera state had only a precarious existence for 3 centuries, within which the Perumals were subordinate to the neighboring Cholas for more than half a century. The Cholas often controlled the Chera state during the 11th century. The Cholas had conquered the Cheras, but the latter continued to rule as feudatories of the Cholas for well over 100 years. It was only in the last decades of the 11th century, when the power of the Chola kingdom had weakened, that the Perumal of Mahodalipuram asserted his sovereignty. But this did not last long. The reign of the last Perumal, Ramavarma Kulasekara, was disturbed by internecine quarrels which led to his abdication of throne in favour of his son Kothavarma subsequent to the disappearance of Rama Kulasekara at the beginning of the 12th century. The land of Kerala was governed by dozens of Naduvajis under a feudal system which went by the Brahmanical codes of morality, precedents and traditions. The Chera state had extensive trade relations with countries of the outside world. Suleiman and al-Masudi, the Arab travelers who visited Malabar coast during the period, have testified to the high degree of economic prosperity achieved by the state from its foreign trade. Suleiman makes specific mention of the brisk trade with China. Malayalam emerged as a distinct language during the Kollam era, and Hinduism became the prominent religion of the state. Second, later Cheras, according to Cheras of Venad. In the absence of a central power at Makotai, the divisions of the Chera kingdom soon emerged as principalities under separate chieftains. The post-Chera period witnessed a gradual decadence of the Nambudiri Brahmins and rise of the Nairs. The original Chera dynasty migrated to Kollam and merged with the I kingdom. Ramavarma Kulasekara, the last Chera king of Makotayapuram, became the first ruler of the Chera I dynasty and was called Ramatiruvadi. The rulers of the kingdom of Venad, based at Port Quillan in southern Kerala, trace the relations to the Perumals of Makotai. Venad ruler Kothavarma probably conquered Kottara and portions of Nanjanadu from the Pandyas. Under the reign of Vira Ravivarma, the system of government became very efficient, and village assemblies functioned vigorously. Udayamartandavarma's tenure was noted for the close relationship between the Venadu and Pandyas. By the time of Ravi Keralavarma, Udayanadu kingdom had acknowledged the authority of the Venadu rulers. The next Venadu ruler, Padmanabhamartandavarma, is alleged to have been killed by Vikrama Pandya in 1264 CE. The Pandyas probably led a successful military expedition to Venadu and captured the capital city of Quillan between 1250 and 1300 CE. The records of Jativarman Sendara Pandya and Maravarman Kulasekara Pandya testify the establishment of Pandya rule over Venadu Cheras. The Chera I dynasty was a vassal country under the Pandyan dynasty. After the invasion of Malik Kafur in 1311 CE, the Pandyan dynasty was defeated and the last Tamil Chera I ruler, Veera Udayamartandavarma, was forced to abdicate in favor of two matriarchal princes from the Tulu-Kolathiri kingdom called Attingal and Kanyamal Ranis. Ravivarma Kulasekara. The death of the celebrated Pandyan king Jayasimha initiated a civil war in Venadu. Ravivarma Kulasekara, the last of the Venadu kings, came to throne according to the patrilineal system and came out successful in this battle. Ravivarma ruled Venadu as a vassal of the Pandyas till the death of King Maravarman Kulasekara. After the death of the king, he became independent and even claimed the throne of the Pandyas. He later annexed large parts of southern India and raised Venadu Cheras to the position of a powerful military state for a short time. The chaotic situation in the Pandya kingdom helped his conquests. The Venadu ruler invaded Pandya kingdom and defeated the Prince Vira Pandya. After annexing the entire Pandya state, he was crowned as Emperor of South India in 1312 at Madurai. He later annexed Tiruvarti and Kanchi. Under Ravivarma, Venadu attained a high degree of economic prosperity. The success of Ravivarma was short-lived, and soon after his death the region became a conglomeration of warring states. Venadu itself transformed into one of these states. The line of Venadu kings after Ravivarma continued through the law of matrilineal succession. Adityavarma Sarvanganatha is known to have defeated the Muslim raiders of the south and checked the tide of Islamic advance. Under the rule of Chera Udayamartandavarma, the Venadu gradually extended the sway of the Tirunelveli region. Ravivarma was the ruler of Venad during the arrival of the Portuguese in India. Copper plate grants. The Vasarpalli plates are a set of copper plate grants issued by Kulasekara Mahodayapuram King Rajashekara Varman. The Tharasapalli plates are a set of copper plate grants issued to Marseille Piriso, the leader of the St. Thomas Christians by Venad in 849, conferring on the Pali and Paliyar a large number of privileges, including the 72 royal rights. These copper plates are still present at Devalakam Aramana Kottayam, the headquarters of Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church. The Jewish copper plate was given to the Kochi Jews by Kulasakara King Bhaskara Ravivarman I. This inscription conferred on a Jewish leader Ausprabhan the rights of the Anjavanam and 72 other proprietary rights.